Hello, we are going to cover integers, particularly multiplying and dividing integers. All right, so we're going to go through this presentation and I'm going to show you a few different ways that you can model multiplication with integers. So let's think for a minute. Multiplication, what does 2 times 3 mean? So 2 times 3 is basically 2 groups of 3 items. So if you think about this, you've got 3 items. So in this, we've got 3 smiley emojis and 2 groups of 3 smiley emojis. You can either count them and you will get a product of 6. Or you can just group them and count them by 3 and 3 and combine them. All right, so representing this on a number line. This is a little bit different. Whenever you're dealing with multiplication of integers, you always want to start at 0 on the number line. So 2 groups of 3. That means we are going to hop 2 times, and each time is going to include 3 numbers. So if you look at the screen, you'll notice you've got 1 hop and another hop, and then you've got 3 in each hop. That's 2 groups of 3. So 2 times 3 is 6. And look where we landed on the number line, at 6. So there is a property called commutative property, and it's kind of like an unknown rule, or a known rule that you kind of already just know. 2 times 3 is the same thing as 3 times 2. Whether you have 2 groups of 3 or 3 groups of 2, you'll still end up with a product of 6. So let's look at how that looks on the number line. So if we start at 0, now instead of doing 2 groups of 3, we're going to have 3 groups of 2. So we're going to hop 3 times. 1, 2, 3 hops. And in each hop, we hop 2 spaces or 2 numbers. And we still wind up at 6. So 2 times 3 is 6, just like 3 times 2 is 6. Which direction did we hop? Did we hop going in the positive direction, or did we hop going in the negative direction? And if you look at it, to the right of 0, we hopped in the positive direction because 3 and 2 are both positive. Now let's look at how that might look if you're multiplying negative integers. So 2 times negative 3. On the number line, again, we always start at 0. And you've got 2 groups, right? But we've got negative 3 in each group. So you have to move over 1, 2 times, but in each group, there needs to be negative 3. So negative 3 in the first group, negative 3 in the second group, and look where we wind up at, negative 6. So 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. So then what about negative 3 times 2? Let's look at that on the number line. You start at 0. And just like when we were adding and subtracting, a negative tells us to do the opposite. So instead of 3 hops to the right, let's make 3 hops to the left. Starting at 0, 3 hops, 1, 2, 3 hops, and in each group is 2 units. So we still wind up with negative 6. That worked. It was the same thing. So here's a tough one. Negative 3 times negative 2. This is going to be interesting. So negative 3 groups of negative 2. Always starting at 0. And what should we do when we start at 0? Well, negative 3 groups, those are hops to the left that are negative 2 units. That's opposite of 2. So the opposite of left is right. So negative 3 groups, negative 2 units, we're going to actually do the opposite. So you wind up with negative 3 times negative 2 as 6. And here are some rules that you can review. Positive times a positive, negative times a negative, and those are the examples that we reviewed together.